Hello everyone, welcome to this demo on Spark SingleStore integration. This is Siddharth Gupta, Solutions Engineer in SingleStore. So in this demo, we would be using Spark SingleStore native connector to integrate Spark with SingleStore. So we'll be starting by integrating Spark with SGFS. We would be creating a data frame in Spark and loading the data from SGFS into that data frame. We would be performing some transformation on top of that data frame, and then the transformed data frame would be loaded into SingleStore table. We would also be connecting Spark directly to the single store table, and we would be loading the data from that single store table into Spark data frame, and we would be performing some transformation on top of it. Okay, so let's start with the action. So let me first launch a Spark shell with single store connector. So this is a command for the same. So in this environment, I've installed Spark 3.2 and also installed SingleStore 8.0, and we are using a Spark SingleStore connector 4.0, which is our latest connector. So once we are going to launch the shell, it will install all the required dependencies which are needed for Spark SingleStore integration. Now we are in Spark shell. Let's create a data frame where we would be loading the data from SGFS. Once the data frame is created, we can display the data of this data frame in the shell. So this is a data which we have loaded from the CSV file in HCFS into a Spark data frame. Now let's perform some transformation. So we would be creating a new table called full name, where we would be concatenating the first name and the last name. Let's create a data frame for the same. Let's display the data for this data frame. Okay, so we got a new column called full name. Now we have this updated transform data frame. Let's load this data frame into single store table. So we would be writing the data of this data frame into a single store table. So for writing, we have to provide some connection string like endpoint URL, username, password, database name, and a table name. Now we have written this data into a single store table. Let's create a data frame where we would be reading the data from this single store table into Spark data frame. Okay, now data frame is created. Let's display the data of this data frame. Okay, so we got these top 20 rows of this data frame. We can also perform some queries on top of it, like we can put a filter condition on this specific data frame. So this filter condition is one kind of a transformation only. You can have a complex transformation which you can perform on this data frame in Spark and reload that data back to single store table. So let me show the data or display the data of this data frame where we have put a filter condition. Okay, we have got this. Just to give you an understanding of this Spark single store integration. So whenever we run any query on this data frame, so what happens is that this native connector pushes the query into a single store cluster or the single store database. So all the queries or all the transformations or all the processing is actually happening on the single store database. So here we are actually utilizing the capabilities or harnessing the power of single store database for this querying purpose. So this is a default behavior of the single store connector, but we do have an option to disable this feature of push down. So we can do that as well. So let's run this command for disabling the push down and running the query on the Spark itself. So in this case, what happens is that like your query or your processing engine is actually happening on the Spark. So we are actually utilizing the Spark compute to do the processing. So here we have disabled the push down. Okay, and so what we have seen till now, here we were using the Scala code or we were running the code directly from the Spark shell. We can do the same from using our Java code as well. So let me showcase that part as well. So first we need to create a Java code where we would be specifying our connection string as well as the query which we want to run. So let me first show you the sample Java file which I have created. Here I have this main.java. So in this main.java, I am just specifying all the connection string first, and then here I am just displaying the rows of this table. But you can have a very complex query here as well, which would be performing a logic. Once this Java code or Java file is ready, you can build a jar out of it. So I've used Maven to build a jar. For me, in this environment, jar is already created. So let me run that jar as well using Spark submit command. So you can build jars of your application and directly call those jars for for the Spark application. So here it's displaying the records of that specific table. So that's it on this demo. Thank you, everyone.